You don't need to see demons in your room to be under spiritual attack. Sometimes the enemy works silently, subtly, and systematically, and if you're not spiritually alert, you'll blame your own thoughts, your own weakness, or even God, when in reality, the devil is targeting your mind, your peace, your relationships, and your destiny. One of the first hidden signs is extreme fatigue, not just physical tiredness, but soul weariness, like you're dragging your spirit through each day with no clarity or motivation, because when Elijah was under attack in 1 Kings 19, even after a great victory, he wanted to die. Spiritual warfare often follows spiritual highs, and exhaustion is how the enemy starts breaking you down. Then comes confusion. You begin to question everything God told you. Things that once felt so clear now seem distant and uncertain, and your discernment feels cloudy, just like Eve in the garden when Satan twisted the word of God in Genesis 3, because if the enemy can distort your truth, he can hijack your decisions. Another overlooked sign is isolation, not the kind God uses to separate you for preparation, but a forced loneliness, where people suddenly turn cold, your support system collapses, and even your prayers feel like they're hitting a wall, because Satan knows that a disconnected believer is a vulnerable believer. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 10 says, "Woe to the one who falls and has no one to help them out." You might also notice recurring setbacks that don't make sense. You tithe, you pray, you fast, but every time you're on the brink of breakthrough, something sabotages it, delays it, or steals it, and it's not always because God is saying, "Not yet." Sometimes it's because the enemy sees what's coming and is launching interference, like in Daniel 10, when the angel was delayed for 21 days by the prince of Persia, proving that some spiritual resistance is real and territorial. Then there's the sudden temptation. Old sins resurface, cravings you thought were dead come back with a vengeance, and you feel like you're secretly battling demons no one knows about, because the enemy studies your patterns and attacks you where you're weakest, and James 1 verse 14 reminds us we're drawn away by our own desires, so the devil doesn't need new tricks, just new timing. One of the most dangerous signs, though, is spiritual apathy, when you stop caring, when worship feels pointless, when the Bible feels boring, and when you say, "I'm just tired," but deep down, you know you're spiritually numb, and that's exactly where Satan wants you, lukewarm and silent, because Revelation 3 verse 16 says God spits out the lukewarm, and the enemy would rather you be numb than on fire. And finally, watch your dreams and your atmosphere. If your sleep is tormented, if you wake up anxious, if you constantly feel a heavy presence or dread without explanation, that's not coincidence. The spiritual realm is speaking, and Ephesians 6 verse 12 makes it clear, our fight isn't against flesh and blood, it's against rulers and principalities in high places. So if you're experiencing these signs and blaming it on bad luck, burnout, or personality, you're missing the real battle, and that's exactly how the enemy wins.